They never said the words. Not because they didn't feel them, but because they were afraid of what might change. Part 1, How they met. They started as friends. Easy conversations. Shared laughter. Long talks that never felt forced. Being together felt natural. Too natural to question. Part 2, The feelings they hid. Somewhere along the way, things shifted. The glances lasted longer. The goodbyes felt heavier. But neither of them spoke up. Because silence felt safer than risking everything. Part 3, The moments that almost happened. There were chances. Moments when one word could have changed everything. But fear is quiet and powerful. So they stayed silent. And silence slowly built distance. Part 4, When life moved on. Time did what time always does. Life pulled them in different directions. New responsibilities. New people. They still cared. Just from farther away. Part 5, The realization. It didn't hit them immediately. It came later. In quiet moments. In memories that wouldn't fade. They realized what they had never said mattered more than what they lost. Part 6, Too late. By the time they understood their feelings, the moment had passed. One of them had moved on. The other pretended to be okay. And silence returned heavier than before. Part 7, Acceptance. Eventually, they accepted the truth. Love doesn't always fail because it wasn't real. Sometimes it fails because no one was brave enough. Ending, strong, emotional, close. They loved each other in silence. And by the time they found their voice, it was too late. Part 8, The moments that stayed. Even after everything changed, small memories stayed. The way they laughed at the same jokes. The comfort of sitting together in silence. The feeling of being understood without speaking. Those moments never left. They just became quieter. Part 9, What silence really meant. Silence wasn't emptiness. It was fear. Fear of losing what they already had. Fear of rejection. Fear of ruining something that felt safe. So they chose silence, not knowing it would cost them everything. Part 10, When they realized too much. One day, the truth became impossible to ignore. They didn't miss the friendship. They missed the possibility. The version of life that could have existed if one of them had been brave enough to speak. Part 11, Moving forward. Not moving on. They moved forward. But moving on was harder. Because some love stories don't end with closure. They end with understanding. An understanding that timing matters. And courage matters even more. Part 12, The lesson they carried from then on. They promised themselves one thing. Never again would fear speak louder than love. Never again would silence decide their future. Because love that isn't spoken slowly fades into regret. Final ending, very strong, close. They loved each other in silence. And that silence taught them one of life's hardest lessons. Love doesn't wait forever. Sometimes, it needs a voice. Part 13, Years later. Years went by. Life softened the sharp edges of the past. Careers changed. Dreams evolved. They became people their younger selves would barely recognize. But some memories never aged. Part 14, When they thought of each other. It wasn't constant. Just occasional moments. A familiar song on the radio. A random place that felt too familiar. A memory that surfaced without warning. And for a second, they wondered. Not with regret, but with quiet curiosity. Part 15, The peace they found. They no longer wished things had been different. They understood now. What they shared wasn't meant to last forever, it was meant to teach them. How to feel deeply. How to care without conditions. How to recognize love when it appears. Part 16, The growth. Because of that silent love, they became braver later in life. They spoke up when feelings mattered. They didn't wait for perfect timing. They chose honesty over fear. And that made all the difference. Final message, closing words. Not every love story ends in forever. Some end in wisdom. They loved each other in silence, and that silence changed them. Forever.
She replayed conversations in her head.
Some love stories survive because they're easy. Others survive because both people are willing to change. And those are the ones worth fighting for. After that decision, things didn't change overnight. There were still moments of doubt. Still old habits trying to return. But this time, they noticed them. And noticing was the beginning. But in choosing to stay, they found something deeper than what they started with. They stopped counting mistakes. Instead, they focused on moments. Moments where effort showed. Moments where patience replaced frustration. Moments where love felt real again. They learned that staying doesn't mean settling. It means believing that something is worth working for. Slowly, the fear of losing each other faded. Not because the risk disappeared, but because trust took its place. They laughed more. Not because life got easier, but because love felt lighter. One quiet night, they realized something powerful. They weren't holding on anymore. They were building. Love to losing everything. And how grateful they were that they didn't. Love no longer felt like something they were trying to save. It felt like something they were living. They understood now that love isn't proven when things are perfect. It's proven when things are hard, and you stay anyway. They almost gave up. But love didn't let them stay the same. It changed them. And that's the quiet truth behind love that lasts. It doesn't arrive complete. It grows, because you choose to grow with it. If you asked them what changed everything, they wouldn't say love. They would say awareness. The moment they realized love isn't something you wait to feel, it's something you practice. They stopped expecting each other to be perfect. They started expecting honesty. And that made all the tenant noticed it immediately. Because the reflection blinked before he did. By the end of the month, there were reports everywhere. Mirrors showing rooms that didn't exist. People seeing themselves asleep while standing awake. Reflections smiling too early. Experts blamed stress. Hallucinations. Faulty lighting. But mirrors were being covered. Shattered. Thrown away. And still, the reflections remained. In windows. In screens. In dark glass at night. The truth came from a single recovered recording. An audio file. No video. Just sound. A voice whispering. This side is servers within hours. But copies survived. Fragments. Enough to piece together what the mirror truly was. It wasn't a reflection. It was a delay. A place where moments go when they hesitate. Resume. Every night at 2:17 a.m., the boundary thinned.